The Philadelphia Eagles offseason is off to an insane start, as it always seems like there's breaking news just around the corner. And so far this offseason for the Eagles, despite losing some guys, it's safe to say that Eagles free agency has been far better than expected up to this point. And it seems as if they're constantly able to find a way to make great moves and great additions with all the odds stacked against them in terms of the cap situation. And they were able to do that on multiple occasions yesterday. And we're going to talk all about that in this video. But before we do that, make sure you go subscribe to this channel for more Philadelphia Eagles content coming throughout the entire offseason. Make sure you go subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And now with that being said, let's get into the video. You know, if there's one man in the NFL that you don't bet against, it is Howie Roseman. As, you know, it doesn't matter the situation, it seems that he's always able to find a way to get things done when he wants these things to get done. It doesn't matter what the cap situation is, it doesn't matter all the odds stacked against him, he's consistently able to find a way to make things happen. And that's pretty much what he's done this entire offseason so far with the Eagles. As heading into the offseason, like I said, a lot of people expected the Eagles to lose a bunch of different players. Obviously, they have limited cap space, and the Philadelphia Eagles had a ton of free agents set to hit the open market. And, you know, while they have lost some of those guys, the Eagles have also found a way to bring back a bunch of those key players, such as Brandon Graham. He's back on a one-year deal. Jason Kelce's also back for 1 year. They signed James Bradberry to a 3-year contract where he took a discount to stay, and they also re-signed Fletcher Cox to a 1-year deal. And a lot of these guys, like I mentioned, Bradberry, but also Fletch and BG, took discounts to stay in Philadelphia. And now, most recently, they've done something once again that looked like it was very unlikely to happen at one point, but Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles front office found a way to make it happen. And that is that they have officially brought back Darius Slay to be with the Philadelphia Eagles on a contract extension. And, you know, obviously this whole entire situation with Darius Slay was very, very interesting, as Slay and the Eagles were in negotiations for a possible contract restructure. Slay wanted an extension from the Eagles, and he asked for, you know, an amount of money that the Eagles weren't 100% comfortable with giving him. So they said, okay, you can go look and see if another team's willing to give that to you. We give you permission to seek a trade. So obviously that whole thing went down. The Eagles couldn't find a trade partner for Slay, nor could they agree to an extension. So then it looked like the Eagles were going to cut Darius Slay. And then in that same day, obviously there was a complete 180 turnaround. And then the Eagles and Slay finally seemed like they were going to agree on something, as Darius Slay and Adam Schefter pretty much unofficially announced Darius Slay's return to Philadelphia. And now officially that news has come out that Darius Slay has signed a 2-year contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles that's going to keep him in Philadelphia for the next 3 years, as those 2 years add on to his 1 year that was still on his current contract. And that's going to be for a total of $42 million over those 3 seasons. So that's around an average of $14 million per year. And, you know, I think that this is a good move overall, because obviously Darius Slay is such a great player. He's become a leader for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a really highly regarded teammate, and he's just a great presence to have with that Philadelphia Eagles team, and obviously his play is still elite. The one thing about this deal is he's going to be here for 3 more years now. Right now, Darius Slay is 32. By the time this deal expires, he's going to be 35. And obviously, you know, $14 million per season is a pretty heavy price to be paying a cornerback. So Darius Slay is going to have to find a way to beat Father Time in a way and continue to at least have really good to, you know, around top 10 cornerback production, because that's what he's being paid like. So he's going to have to find a way to make sure that he's able to maintain a level of elite play. I think a lot of people try to underrate what Darius Slay did, especially this past season, because if you really look at it, like, teams and opposing quarterbacks were not targeting him a lot because, you know, they respect him and they know he's still a very good player. And people are trying to say that he regressed last year, and I don't really, like, maybe he didn't play quite as elite as he did early in the season when he was, you know, getting all these picks and stuff. But at the end of the day, he still was playing like a top 5 corner, and I don't think you can really deny that, at least in coverage. He's just now going to have to find a way to keep up that elite level of production going into his older age. And this move is also good because it saves $13 million in cap space, which is actually more immediately than cutting him would have saved. Now, obviously, in the long run, cutting him would have saved a little bit more money, but keeping him just for this season, that saves $13 million in cap space right now, which clears up a little bit more money for the Eagles to go make more moves. Now here we have another key player returning to the Eagles in 2023. Again, seemingly a move where the odds were stacked against Howie Roseman and the Eagles, and they were able to find a way to get that done. And on top of finding a way to keep their own players, the Eagles have also found ways to add new players to the team, as they've made multiple surprise additions this offseason, including the earliest one being Rashad Penny, running back from the Seattle Seahawks, which I thought this was a good move. They got him for a really cheap price, and he's a player with a lot of upside. He averages 5.7 yards per carry throughout his entire career. Over the last 2 seasons, he's averaged 6.3 yards per carry. And the only problem with Rashad Penny is he struggles to stay healthy. So that's the main thing to watch out for with him this season. But given the opportunity, and should he again be on the field, Rashaad Penny has the potential to be a very good and productive player for the Eagles, especially behind obviously the dominant offensive line they have. And Rashaad Penny just had his introductory press conference to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he had multiple interesting comments. One in which he said that joining the Eagles he basically looks at as a career reset and a new beginning for him.
I feel like this is like a great place for me to like restart my career, and I'm just excited to be here, and I can't wait to get to work. It's like a refresh to me, so I'm excited to be an Eagle.
Do you feel like you wanted that, a chance to kind of have a refresh?
I think that's what it's all about, just coming here and, just kind of restarting my narrative, changing who I am as a person, and I'm excited. It's gonna be big.
And another one where he explained what Jalen Hurts said to him when he initially signed with Philadelphia.
Did Jalen reach out to you?
Oh yeah, yes.
What was his message for you?
He's ready to win the Super Bowl, and I'm on him with him. So I'm with him, and I know the whole team is with him too. So I'm excited for this opportunity.
So obviously it seems like Rashaad Penny's excited to be in Philly, and I think he has the opportunity to revitalize his career like he wants to do. And assuming he stays healthy, I think he can surprise a lot of people. And now another surprise addition, and the most recent addition made by the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency, is Marcus Mariota, as he has signed with the Eagles to a one-year deal worth $5 million that can be worth up to $8 million with incentives. And I thought that this was the perfect move for the Eagles in terms of getting a backup quarterback. Obviously, last season when Jalen Hurts went out with an injury, their backup quarterback at the time, which was Gardner-Minshew, doesn't exactly have the same play style as Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles coaching staff was pretty much trying to throw Gardner-Minshew into a Jalen Hurts system, and it didn't work for Gardner-Minshew. The Eagles went 0-2 during that time, and it didn't look very good. So now, with having Marcus Mariota come in here, he's a mobile quarterback. He plays like Jalen Hurts. He's going to fit perfectly into that system. God forbid Jalen Hurts goes out with an injury and Marcus Mariota needs to step in. He's going to be put in a better position to succeed than Gardner-Minshew was. It's also interesting having Marcus Mariota with the Eagles just 8 years after Chip Kelly basically was willing to trade everything possible to go get him in the draft. And now it's weird to say that he's actually a Philadelphia Eagle, but that was the guy I wanted at that backup quarterback spot, and I'm glad that we got him. But Marcus Mariota was not the only new addition that the Philadelphia Eagles made last night, as just before that, they made probably their biggest surprise move of the offseason, which was that they signed Greedy Williams to a one-year deal, which is reportedly worth less than $2 million. And at first when the Eagles made this move, I was confused. I was actually live when it happened, and I was sitting there and I was like, Greedy Williams, that's really, really interesting, because at the time, just probably like an hour before that, the Eagles had gone out, they re-signed Darius Slay, obviously, to his contract extension to keep him in Philadelphia for 3 more years, and just a couple days ago, they re-signed James Bradberry for 3 more years as well. So I thought it was interesting that they went out and got another cornerback, and I didn't really understand it at first, but now that I've had time to think about it, I actually think that this is a great move, because Greedy Williams is a player with a lot of upside. He was a second-round pick out of LSU by the Cleveland Browns in 2019, and there was a lot of hype surrounding him coming out of college. And, Greedy Williams is a guy that also has a lot of talent. He's shown a lot of promise in his opportunities where he has played, and he also has some good physical tools, as he's a big corner. He's 6'2", and he's long paws. And Greedy Williams, again, he's a guy with a lot of upside. And the one major thing that's limited him in his career is his injuries. But he's been a good player when he's been healthy. In 2021, that was probably his best season. He had 41 tackles, he had 10 passes defense, then he had 2 interceptions, which are solid numbers. But last year was definitely the worst year of his career, super down year for him. And again, the main theme is injuries, as injuries cost him, the training camp before, and it may have also cost him a chance to start, as he only played 15% of the snaps in 2022, and he only had 6 tackles as well. So it's safe to say that a change of scenery was needed for Greedy Williams, and now he has the chance to come to Philadelphia, and that gives him that exact opportunity, and he has a chance to revitalize his career, and he's going to be in a new role. He's definitely not going to start for this Eagles team, at least the way it looks right now, but it's a good move to add depth. And he's a good backup, and he can sit behind 2 elite cornerbacks in Darius Slay and James Bradberry and just learn and hopefully get better. And if one of those 2 guys gets hurt, as they're both, 30 plus years old, he can come in, he can step in, and he can fill their spot. And I think he's a very serviceable backup in that way, assuming he can stay healthy finally. And, Avonte Maddox is also a guy who's been hurt a lot in his career so far. So if he gets hurt, Greedy Williams can step in and fill in for Maddox as well. Now, you have to ask the question, does this news, with Greedy Williams signing with the Eagles or Darius Slay returning to the Eagles on his contract extension, mean that there's less of a chance or no chance that the Eagles bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson? Well, I can't say for sure, but I really don't think that that's the case. You know, Greedy Williams was a cheap addition, very, very cheap. The Eagles reportedly got him for less than $2 million for 1 year. And he's not a safety. He's never been a safety in his career. He's a cornerback, and I think that's what they brought him in here to do. And more than likely, I see him playing, you know, that backup cornerback role in 2023. Now, the Darius Slay situation is interesting because I see a lot of people saying, well, now that Slay's back on this big contract, there's no chance that the Eagles are going to be able to sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. And that, to me, just absolutely makes no sense because the Darius Slay move actually freed up more money. You know, it's not like the Eagles went out and they cut Darius Slay or he was like a free agent coming into the team and we gave him more money. No, he was already on a contract. He already had a year left on his deal. All the Eagles did was extend that contract that he already had for 2 more years, so now he's going to be here for the next 3 years. But it's not like they gave him all this new money, and actually extending him freed up $13 million in cap space. That move actually saved money, so this reasoning that Slay coming back means that CJ can't be back is just absolutely ridiculous. It's not true. It's just not true. Now I just think it's a waiting game for CJ Gardner-Johnson. The situation has been going on for a while now, and I think the main reason for that is because it doesn't seem like his market is as high as he expected it to be. He just put out a tweet yesterday saying the disrespect is real, and then he deleted it really fast. But basically what I think that means is that he's not getting offered as much money as he thought, which is actually a good thing for the Eagles because the Eagles don't have an unlimited amount of money, so they can pay him whatever he's looking for. Or CJ Gardner-Johnson might try to play on a 1-year, 2-year contract to raise his value as a safety and then go back on the open market and try to get more money. And what other team would he do that with than the Philadelphia Eagles? They can give him that money, assuming other teams aren't willing to pay him this huge amount, which it doesn't seem like they are. And he's familiar with the Eagles coaches, the players that are there. Why would he not come back to the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, obviously, he's a master troll on social media right now. He's changing his profile picture to stuff him in Eagles gear, then just a black screen, deleting all his tweets. You really don't know what's going on in his mind or what he's doing in terms of that, but I really think that the Eagles have a good chance to re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, assuming that his market value is not as high as he initially thought, which, you know, judging by his deleted tweet, it doesn't seem to be that way. So the odds have been stacked against the Eagles this entire offseason. It seemed like, you know, everyone thought the Eagles were going to fall apart. People thought they were going to lose all their players on the defensive side of the ball, and they're still finding a way to fill out this roster with elite talent, whether it's bringing back key guys, finding ways to create cap space to bring them back on decently sized contracts, or finding guys at a low value that have high upside, like Rashaad Penny and Greedy Williams. The Eagles and Howie Roseman have stayed unfazed, and they've gone out and made all the moves that they thought were necessary to fill out this Eagles roster with talent and get them back to the point where they want to be of winning a Super Bowl. And again, they've done it against all odds. But that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below regarding all this new Eagles news and whether you think the Eagles are going to go out and sign CJ Gardner-Johnson or not. If you want to watch another Eagles video, you can go watch this video right here. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it so you don't miss anything. I've also been live a lot more recently, so if you don't want to miss any of those, make sure you turn on notifications. Drop a like on this video to help push it out to other people. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.